Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into the gritty psychological reality of a high-stakes counterfeit currency ring. We're going to look at how chasing extreme wealth, especially when it's built on a total illusion, can ultimately cost you your freedom. I mean, this isn't just about printing fake money, right? It's really about the shadow identities you adopt along the way and the hidden costs of grabbing that kind of extreme power. Okay, so just imagine this for a second. You've just printed $10 million in flawless, completely fake currency. You've spent the last 6 months practically buried alive in a soundproof basement, breathing in these awful toxic fumes from high-grade industrial ink, and messing with specialized cotton linen paper. But hey, it finally paid off. You've got this gorgeous condo with floor-to-ceiling glass walls, and you're rocking a watch that literally costs more than your first car. Sounds like the ultimate win, doesn't it? Well, you've created what the criminal underworld calls a supernote. And this thing is so flawless, it would probably fool the head of the treasury. But as you sit there admiring that crisp blue security strip on a fresh stack of hundreds, reality kind of sets in. You realize that your brilliant, highly specific chemical mix actually has a single tell. Just one fatal flaw that could quite literally end your life. Suddenly, this massive value you just spun out of thin air, it's already starting to feel a lot like a cage. You know, this crazy clinical game of high-stakes logistics doesn't usually kick off with some grand evil master plan. Believe it or not, it often begins with something way simpler: boredom. Picture a super talented graphic designer or a coder sitting there on a rainy Tuesday. They realize their legitimate career is just this exhausting, slow crawl toward a mortgage they're probably never going to pay off anyway. They start looking at our financial system and think, wait, money's just ones and zeros. It's just symbols on paper. So they start hunting for the software glitches in that system, trying to figure out how to basically become the system itself. So let's map out how this criminal underworld actually works. It's built on this incredibly rigid 5-level ladder. We're talking about moving from the passer up to the junior distributor, the master engraver, the logistics CFO, and finally, the currency king. Starting us off at level 1, we have the passer. Down here at this stage, look, you are definitely not a mastermind. You're basically treated as indivisible furniture. You're just raw labor that the big players use to test their product out in the real world. Your day-to-day reality? Sore feet. You are walking 14-hour days, bouncing between busy gas stations and crowded little diners. Your one and only job is to take a fake $20 bill, buy a pack of gum, and get real change back. That's it. You're taking on literally all of the physical risk for a tiny, tiny fraction of the reward. And you're being watched constantly, every single second. They need to know if you have the discipline to keep your mouth shut if a clerk actually calls the cops. And make no mistake, if you do get pinched, the family owes you absolutely nothing. You just do your time to prove you're worthy of stepping up to the next rung. Next up is level 2, the junior distributor. Okay, so if you manage to pass that brutal first test, you graduate. Now you're managing your own crew of 10 passers. You aren't the one handing over fake bills anymore. Instead, you're this young operative in a shiny suit, and your entire job is the hustle. You control your territory and make sure it stays completely clear of rival fake paper. But as a junior distributor, your absolute most crucial responsibility is what they call the tax. Every single Friday without fail, you are expected to deliver an incredibly fat envelope of totally clean cash to the senior lead who brought you in. And here's the kicker. If you try to hide even a single rounding error from that clean cash you owe your boss, the consequences are, well, terminal. Because at that point, you're stealing from the family. Thieves at this level get reformatted, or, they just end up found in a barrel somewhere. Moving higher, we hit level 3, the master engraver. At this tier, all that gritty, physical street hustle, it completely vanishes. You've officially traded the street for a lab. You become the absolute magician of the entire operation. You've figured out that mammals are just mammals and paper is just paper. Operating like this incredibly meticulous surgeon armed with horse pills and fishing wire, you use whatever bizarre tools you can find to make the fake look even more real than the original. You're using a digital mask to source highly restricted inks, zipping materials through totally different ports in places like France and Japan just to remain entirely invisible. Your whole purpose in life is to give a blank piece of paper a completely plausible new history. Then we reach the inner circle. Level 4, the logistics CFL. So once you've perfected the product, you might get that rare invite to be the CFO. And as the CFO, you aren't printing a thing. Think about this massive shift in your reality for a second. You've gone from the intense, highly visible, sore-footed, street-level risks of the passer, right? And now you're plunged into the completely abstract, international shadow games of the CFO. The risk has shifted entirely. It's no longer about getting caught passing a fake 20 in a diner. It's about navigating this insane, high-stakes digital labyrinth. Day to day, you're now managing the organization's insulation. You're performing these unbelievable accounting gymnastics. You're setting up, say, 8 different LLCs as empty boxes in places like Wyoming and Delaware, just to make the money dance. You're wiring funds from Cyprus over to Panama, bouncing it around until the financial trail becomes a complete ghost, totally invisible to the feds and, frankly, even invisible to the supreme bosses above you. But wow, here is the absolutely terrifying trap of level 4. Because you are the only person on Earth who knows exactly where every digital body and every single dollar is buried, you are now a very, very expensive loose end. You're a massive, vulnerable liability to the supreme bosses. Your knowledge is your power, sure, but it is also a literal death warrant if they suddenly decide you know just a bit too much. And finally, we make it to the top. Level 5. The currency king. At the absolute apex of the ladder, you are the father of the operation. You're basically a ghost who never actually touches a single fake bill. You manage the sprawling portfolio from behind 7 glowing screens, and honestly, you haven't so much as walked down a city street in 20 years. But really think about the chilling reality of this extreme power. You have a 12-man security detail that treats your life like you're a sitting president. The dark truth, though, they are actually there to make sure you never, ever leave. You are quite literally a prisoner in a golden cage of your own making. Picture this. You find yourself standing completely alone in your massive, empty, 60-seat home theater at 3 a.m. The silence is deafening. It's broken only by the mechanical hum of security cameras tracking your every single movement. They stop when you stop, they follow when you move. You have everything money can buy, and yet you have absolutely nothing. In the end, this really profound, dark realization hits you. Your free will, it's completely gone. You thought you were the king of the world, manipulating the entire system to your advantage. But then you realize you were just a number being moved to a different column on someone else's giant spreadsheet. You were never actually the player. You were just a pawn in a much darker simulation. So, as we wrap up this explainer on the hidden costs of shadow identities and the intoxicating yet totally destructive illusion of counterfeit wealth, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. Think about the entire ladder we just climbed, the street-level risks, the digital gymnastics, and that ultimate golden cage. If you somehow had $1 trillion in perfect counterfeit, what's the very first rounding error you'd spend it on?